There's a kind of tiredness that sleep doesn't fix. You rest, you eat, you go through your day, but something in your mind never fully switches off, like a tab you can't close. And here's what almost no one realizes. Most people spend their entire lives in this state, not because something is wrong with them, but because nobody ever showed them what's actually causing it. I spent years trying to understand why some people carry this invisible weight, while others move through life with a kind of quiet clarity most of us never feel. And the most complete answer I found wasn't from a therapist or a neuroscientist. It came from a samurai, written over 400 years ago, in a document he finished just before he died. Most people read it and think it sounds harsh, cold, even brutal. But if you understand what he was actually saying, it explains something about your mind that changes everything. And by the end of this video, you'll see exactly why your energy keeps disappearing and the one shift that stops it. Before we get into it, there's one thing you need to understand. The samurai's name was Miyamoto Musashi, undefeated in over 60 duels. But the document he left behind, Dokkodo, the way of walking alone, wasn't about fighting. It was about the mind. No long explanations, no motivation, just 21 principles. And the reason they still matter today is because the problem Musashi was solving is the exact same one you're dealing with right now. Your brain is running a program it was never meant to run 24 hours a day. Let me show you what I mean. Think about someone like Kenji. On paper, his life looked fine. Stable job, good reputation, people liked him. But inside, everything felt heavy. Every conversation felt like effort. Every decision felt draining, and he couldn't explain why. Here's what most people never notice. Kenji wasn't just stressed. His brain was in a constant state of low-level threat detection. Not physical danger, social danger, judgment, rejection, disapproval. His mind had learned to treat people like threats. And once that happens, you don't just feel tired, you start shrinking without realizing it. The first principle that changed everything for him was this: do not depend on a partial feeling. At first, it sounds meaningless, but then he started paying attention, and what he saw was uncomfortable. Most of his actions weren't choices, they were reactions. He felt nervous, he went quiet. He felt uncomfortable, he agreed. He felt accepted, he relaxed. His entire life was being controlled by something that changes every hour. So Musashi's answer was simple: pause. Just a pause. Because emotions move fast, thinking moves slower. And in that gap, you stop reacting. You start choosing. Kenji tried it. Next time he wanted to agree with something he didn't believe, he said nothing. A few seconds passed. It felt wrong, like something bad was about to happen. Nothing happened. And that moment changed more than he expected. Because his fear didn't come true. And that's how fear actually weakens. Not through confidence, but through evidence. But removing reaction is only half of it. The real question is, what do you do with the energy you get back? Kenji noticed something else. He was always adjusting. Not in obvious ways, in small, invisible ways. Softening his opinions, choosing safer words, making sure he stayed likable. And it felt like connection, until one question stopped him. Was this actually connection, or fear pretending to be connection? Your brain is wired to treat rejection like danger. Thousands of years ago, it was. Today, it isn't. But your brain hasn't caught up. So it makes you shrink, over-explain, edit yourself before you even speak. Musashi's path isn't about abandoning people. It's about no longer depending on their approval to feel safe. So Kenji made a small change. He stopped over-explaining. When he said no, he just said no. No justification, no cushioning. And again, nothing happened. But inside, something started loosening. Now this is where most people stop. Because the next step feels like loss, but it's actually where everything opens up. Accept everything just the way it is. It sounds passive. It's not. Most of your mental exhaustion doesn't come from problems. It comes from resisting them, replaying them, arguing with reality, thinking this shouldn't be happening again and again. That loop is where your energy disappears. Acceptance doesn't mean you like it. It means you stop fighting what already exists. You see clearly, then you act. When Kenji stopped arguing with reality in his head, his mind didn't become empty. It became quiet. And in that quiet, he could finally think. The last thing Musashi wrote was this: think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. Here's what changed for Kenji. From the outside, almost nothing. Same job, same people, same routine. But the weight he carried through all of it started to disappear. Conversations didn't drain him the same way. Decisions felt lighter. And for the first time in years, his mind wasn't constantly bracing for something. Not because life got easier, because he stopped fighting things that were never actually threats. And that shift is easy to miss until you feel it. It's subtle, quiet, but once it happens, you start noticing something strange. How much energy you were losing to things that never really mattered. How often your mind was working against you, not for you. And once you see that clearly, it's hard to go back. So before you sleep tonight, sit with this for a minute. If you stopped adjusting yourself just to feel safe, what would actually change? Not in your life, in you. Most people avoid that question because they already know it leads somewhere uncomfortable. But that's also where things start to shift. In the next video, I'll break down the one daily practice that turns this from an idea into something you can actually experience consistently. Not theory, something you can test. I'll see you there.